Hello and welcome to On the Bench, the only sports discussion show for the Lincolnshire and Humber region, right here on Estuary TV. My name's Rachel Chadwick. I'm back once again to cast our eye over the big sports stories from the week and ask my studio guests to share their views on what's been going on. Joining me in the studio this week are Lincolnshire-based showjumper Roxanne Hennebery, and making his second appearance on the show is BBC Humberside sports editor Matt Dean. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Hi, Rachel.
Yeah. Matt, how's everything been going since we saw you?
Very busy. The football season's got underway, so we're watching Premier League action now, as well as Grimsby Town in the Football Conference and Scunthorpe United in League 2. The Super League season has just wound down as well, and we've had a couple of sackings in our area as well, which has kept us quite busy.
Yeah, definitely on your toes.
Yeah.
Roxanne, how's show jumping been going for you this year?
Yeah, really well. I think it's our best year to date. I think we've when I first got my horse, he had major anxiety problems, and the time it was just all I wanted to do was just to ride my horse, because he hated anyone near him. But this year he's really come through. We've ridden for Lincolnshire, we've got double clear, and we're winning events now as well, so it's been really, really good.
So a really good event kind of for the local area as well, and you competed in Lincolnshire recently?
Yes, I have. We did that at Arena UK in Grantham. There was plenty of other riders there, very talented riders there. It was a really busy day, really stressful to start with, but it was worth it. It was really good. Yeah.
Well, we're back with you both for a few discussion points in a few minutes. Okay, coming up shortly on the programme, Tom and Stu are back with more of your questions in a view from the estuary. And if you saw last week's show, you'll remember Matt Denson joined us in the studio to talk about his recent wrestling experience. Stay tuned to see how he got on. You won't want to miss it. We've got all the action from Grimsby Wrestling Academy and the event that he took part in. But first up, this week's snooker, Stephen Lee was dealt his punishment for being caught match fixing in 2008 and 2009. A 12-year ban and £40,000 fine will end Lee's career in the game. What's your thoughts on this one, Matt? Because obviously it's such a kind of up in the air subject. Is it too much with the fine and the ban, or is it too little? What are your opinions?
I think it sends out a really strong message. At 12 years, we'll take him to, 50? And I think Stephen Lee has said himself that when he gets to 50, his career is effectively over. So it's a career-ending ban, I think, for him. And I think that the authorities need to be sending out that message. I think he's quite lucky, actually, because I think that the chairman of the World Snooker body now, I think he would, looking at what he's saying at the moment, Barry Hearn is trying to put into effect a lifetime ban now for anybody who does go down that route in future. So I think that to get a 12-year ban is quite fortunate, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult with match fixing, I suppose, Roxanne, because do you see it much in horse riding in terms of kind of a blanket ban, or is it generally an individual case?
Not so much for what I do with the show jumping. It has been known in racing and with polo as well. But from what I have heard, they just disqualify them, and then it depends on sort of what they've done and how long it's for. But it's not really known of now as much in the eventing, because they drug test them as well, and it gets plastered all over the Horse and Hound and the news. So it's something that they don't really want to do. But show jumping, you don't really hear about it in show jumping.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's the right way to be in terms of, you are ridiculed for it. It should be something that you're embarrassed to be a part of. So do you think, Matt, that there's a chance that we can actually eradicate this in sport completely?
I think it's unlikely, because it's nowadays you look at global betting, internet betting, and I think that it's very difficult to police, to try and stamp it out completely. So I think the authorities have got the work cut out when they're trying to do that. But I think that it's really important that they do manage to try and clamp down as much as they can, because the integrity of sport is obviously put at risk here, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean, that's the point that's been made about Stephen Lee in terms of, has he been made a scapegoat to save the integrity of the sport? Have you got any opinions on that?
No, I don't think he has been made a scapegoat. I know that his ex-manager has stated that he has become a bit of a scapegoat, but I think that he got caught, and if you get caught, I think you've got to be prepared to take it on the chin and be put out there in the national headlines. And sort of, I think it's important that he is made an example of. And it's a strong message that needs to be sent to everybody else in the sport, that if you do cross that line and you do that, then you're going to get either banned for life. I personally would like to see players banned for life, because I think it sends out the strongest possible message to them all, not a 12-year ban. Yeah. So I think that's important.
I mean, we've seen it in the IPL with the cricket as well earlier in the year, in terms of those 3 players, I believe, that were banned, and also a player that was formerly a cricketer went into betting. So like you say, it's the kind of crossover there. Yeah. It is really difficult whether it's an individual case or whether it should be a blanket ban, and it's really difficult to kind of eradicate from all sports because you've got so many governing bodies, I suppose. Yeah. What's your thoughts on kind of cheating in general in football? Because we've seen some controversial things in terms of Suarez, 10-match ban, just come back from it, obviously made such an impact on the Premier League already this season. But, you know, there's a lot of Brendan Rodgers is kind of coming out with all the stories at the minute.
I think FIFA need to do more. I think that I'd like to see diving stamped out. I've got strong feelings on that. Because when we see it on Match of the Day on Saturday, we see it with our own eyes that players have dived to gain advantage. And I think that if retrospective punishment was brought in, then they could then stamp it out. If they start to make examples of players, when we see Match of the Day and everybody else sees that a player has dived, they need to be, I think, punished for doing that. And I think that retrospective punishment is central to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely with you on the diving thing. I've got quite strong opinions on that one, and I get a bit irate on a Saturday when I'm watching that.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah, exactly. Roxanne, are you kind of on the same vein with that one in terms of cheating in sport?
Yeah. I think it takes the fun out of it, really, because for me, when I go out to compete, I do it I want to. If I'm going to win, I want to do it because I've deserved it, and you know, I don't want to cheat. If I come home, I've had a bad day, then I've had a bad day. It's something to learn, and you know, hopefully next time we'll have a good time. But if I was to cheat, there's just, what's the point in going?
Exactly.
I know what the result's going to be then, so...
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much for your viewpoints on that one. Definitely a controversial one, as always, here. If you have your own views on this story, tweet us in on the studio at On The Bench TV, and you let us know your thoughts. We'll read out some of those next week, if you're lucky. On that note, Tom and Stu have been with us once again, rounding up your questions, and here they are with this week's A View from the Estuary.
Hello and welcome to this week's View from the Estuary. Are Manchester United strong enough without Robin van Persie?
You look at the recent performances, the recent Manchester derby, Manchester United just weren't good enough on the day. I think he's going to play a big part in them finishing in the top 4 this season.
If you look at the derby, as you mentioned though, the whole team were not good enough, not just that one player. And obviously they won in the League Cup against Liverpool without RVP. So, you know, they're not just a team of one player. You know, they've got quality in the side to win games, but he is the difference sometimes when it comes to top matches. Has Rob Scott's departure affected the Grimsby Town players? I don't think it has too much. You look at the 5-2 win over Dartford, and you don't think that the players have got that on the mind, but then while it was still going on, you know, they didn't pick up too many points.
I think while it was going on, the players didn't know what was going on. Not even the other joint manager, Paul Hurst, knew what was going on. It was a bit up in the air, but now it's all sorted. They can go back to business and hopefully win some more matches.
With unfamiliar faces in the next Ashes squad, does this go against England?
I don't think it does go against England, to be honest. I think they're there on merit of performing well for the counties, for the clubs as well. You look at who's been brought in. Boyd Rankin, he's got international experience. The other two as well are young, they're going to be hungry, and they're going to want quite a lot more to bring the Ashes back home.
Yeah, obviously they're there on merit. They're not amateurs, they're professionals, so they should slot in nicely. It might take a few games, training sessions to get into it, but they're going to fit in nicely in the long run. Do you agree with Steve Bruce that early rounds of the Capital Cup is like watching paint dry? I have to disagree with Mr. Bruce on this one. The early stages of the competition is when you get all this sort of shock results and the high-scoring games, and you see some draws, you think, wow, I need to see that match. So I've got to disagree.
It's a good chance at the Capital One Cup for Hull to go out there and actually win some silverware as well. You look at the last couple of winners, Swansea have won it, Birmingham won it in the last few years. It's a good chance of European competition for the lesser teams in the Premier League. So why he's turned around and said that, I don't know.
Well, that's it for this week then. Thank you for your questions. If you've got a question for us and you want our opinion, you can tweet us at AskEstuary.
Thanks again, Tom and Stu. We're going to a break now, but join me afterwards and we'll have more reaction from Grimsby Town fans and to see how Matt Denson got on in front of 400 spectators at the GWA wrestling event. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back to the show. Now, the dismissal of Rob Scott and the manner in which the incident was handled by the club was a talking point amongst the Grimsby Town fans for weeks. In the aftermath of the statement last week, we all want to know a little bit more about how the fans felt about the news. Matt, what's your take on this one? Because obviously you've been involved with John Fenty and the interview on there. What's your take on this?
Well, it's taken a little while, hasn't it, for it all to come out, really. And I don't think we still really have established the true facts of what's gone on. But there are reasons for that, because the club needed to act in the way that they acted. They needed to go through the usual procedure of what they would do if they sacked somebody for gross misconduct, which is what's happened. So it's taken its natural course. But the fans have been agitated, I think, to find out what's actually gone on. And my job as a journalist, as a sports editor of BBC Radio Humberside, I've been trying to get to the bottom of what has actually gone on with all of this. There
was a point, good 2 or 3 weeks, where they didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And the reaction to the John Fenty interview that yourself took part in, it was quite high rate in terms of, actually, it was quite a defensive interview that John gave. And the fans didn't quite appreciate that. Can you see where they're coming from as well as where John's coming from?
Yeah, I can see both sides, really, because John obviously is trying his best to try and sort all of this out. But at the same time, whilst he's got his job, I've got my job as a reporter, and I'm asking the questions that the fans want the answers to.
Yeah,
so I can understand why he maybe got a bit prickly in that interview.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would defend my right to ask the questions of the relevant people.
Of course, you're a journalist, that's what you're supposed to do. In terms of footballing then, how do you see their season going from now on? Because they're a bit rocky, but they're picking up the last couple of results.
They've been a bit inconsistent, haven't they? You look at September, they had their heaviest defeat since August 2011 at Halifax, and then they got a big win against Dartford, their biggest win of the season, winning 5-2. Things seem to be heading in the right direction, and I think that they want to have a bit of calmness about the place now, and talking to the players, I think they're quite keen to get everything back on an even keel and just concentrate on the football now.
And Paul Hurst, have you got confidence that he can take the team where he needs to be?
He's very measured in the way that he does things. He's very calm, and I like the way he goes about his business, and I think he will be good for them.
Good. And Roxanne, what's your thoughts on all this Grimsby Town kind of hoo-ha? Has it been catching you in the paper?
Yeah, I've seen it when I look at the horsey bits. It catches my eye. Yeah, I mean, obviously the fans are going to wonder what's going on, and I understand, obviously, that everyone's got a job to do, but my personal view is that unless you've got a lot of information to give to the fans, maybe keep it quiet until you're ready.
Yeah, that's maybe a good way to look at it. Well, thank you very much for that one. So thank you for your views on all of the discussion points for this evening. If you were watching last week, you'll have heard that Matt Denson was in training to take part in a big wrestling event with Grimsby Wrestling Academy in front of an audience of 400 people and in a skimpy spandex outfit of his choice, I believe it was. Matt sportingly got involved in the event and he did not disappoint. Take a look at this.
Listen, I'm really nervous. I'm here. I'm outside wrestling at Central Hall in Grimsby. I'm in a bout tonight. Everything I've learnt, everything these guys have taught me. Let's go inside, find out more. As I prepared to step out, I heard the announcer reveal the details of the match.
This is a battle royal match. The last man standing wins.
I thought I was coming here for a one-on-one. It was too late to back out. It was time to take to the ring. I wasn't ready. The bell took me by surprise. I got off to an awful start. A spider began to lay into me. Luckily, I managed to turn things around. Spider was back for more. It was up to me to end this. But it wasn't enough. At least I took solace from the fact that I lost to the winner. Wow, back in the dressing room. Ultimate respect for those guys out there and the crowd. What a hell of a night here wrestling. Great supporters, great bunch of lads in the ring. I tell you what, I might not have won, but I tell you what, I think I deserve this. Do you want something? Do you want something?
That is not your belt!
Thank you.
Earn it! Like everybody else does!
Thanks. Trust me, they are a friendly bunch.
Annie joins me now. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
You survived.
Just.
Yeah. Was it
Enjoyed
good?
it? Yeah, it did. It was good. It was good. Harder than I thought it would be. But overall, it was actually more exciting than I thought it would be as well.
Good.
Yeah, it was good.
How did you think you got on, Matt?
I love that leotard. Where
Wants
is it
to
now?
borrow it.
Actually,
You
I
wearing
gave
it
it back
on a nightly basis?
No, I gave it back, to be fair. I
Oh,
I thought it was only fair.
Did
know
you
what
wash it
happened to
before you
Pinocchio when
took
he
it
told
back?
lies?
No, I just gave it back to them. No, they did that for me. No, it was really, really good. It was harder than I expected. And those guys put some hours training in.
Yeah. Do you think as a sport it's actually taken seriously? Because it is an entertainment sport, but they put a lot of hard work into it.
Yeah, all sports entertaining, you know, someone wants to watch it, but yeah, these guys really take it seriously, and I think the fans do as well. I think the fans appreciate the work that's put in by, you know, the wrestlers. I think that's the case in any sport. The harder you put in, then you know, the more respect you get for it. So yeah, my hat's off to them. They play, you know, they did very, very well.
Yeah. And Roxanne, I suppose that's the same for you in terms of show jumping. You're putting on a show, so you're trying to please the audience as well as the event.
Yeah, a lot of people turn up to watch, and it's nice to get a good round for yourself, but it's always nice to get the round of applause at the end.
Yeah, definitely. So Matt, are you going to be taking part in more wrestling bouts then, do you think?
The
Some
thing is,
good moves.
they've asked me to go back, but I think we're busy at the minute. That's what I keep telling them. Yeah, we're busy, but
I can clear your diary, that's not a problem.
yeah, thank you. No, to be fair, I would, because I enjoyed it. The main thing is I enjoyed it, and as I say, those guys work hard, so yeah, I probably would.
And Spider gave you a good grilling up there.
He did, but he gave me a good win, but he won. So I can take solace from the fact that actually it's not too bad losing to the eventual winner.
Yeah, and you did body slam him.
Yeah, I got
well
that in.
done for that.
I know, well done to
Proud
the
of
cameraman
you.
for catching it, because
Yeah.
I'd have been cross if he hadn't. You know,
Definitely. Yeah, it was a really good event. Well done. I'm proud of you, mate.
Thank you
well
very much.
done.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we've got time for this week. Thanks to Roxanne Hennebery and Matt Dean for joining me in the studio, and thanks to you for watching. We'll be back next week, so we hope to see you then.